I have two games to go over today. One of them is this one. The other one is a relatively shorter game of two people I'm not going to tell you of as well. We will learn about that later. But since you reviewed this today, Frozen, can you tell us who these players are? Should we know who they are? Are they known for anything? Or are these just like unknown players who we've never heard of before? Indeed, we have number one player in Korea as black and number one female player. So, kind of interesting game here. It shouldn't be low caliber. No surprise that Frozen Soul has gone ahead and managed to review this game that he somehow fit into his Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing. Congratulations on that one, by the way. Am I showing the right board? I am. Alright, good. Alright. Should surprise no one that I say this every game, but nothing unusual happens in the opening. Very rarely does anything unusual happen in the opening and I choose to go over it, unless they did something so unusual I want to show all of you how bad it is so you can all not die to it. Speaking of things that are really, really bad that you should not die to, by the way, I have a bot series out now on YouTube that I want to go ahead and mention to all of you in case you are not currently aware of it. These bots are really, really bad and none of you should die to them. And we kind of go over why. Right now we are out at the... Zen would totally not win. Take that influence style elsewhere, Jamal. Right now, I have the 20Q to 10Q bots out. And I'll be putting out at least one video a week, I think. I have them all recorded, but I'm not going to release them back to back because I don't believe in flooding releases on my channel. So that explains that. Now, continuing onwards. Only thing mildly unusual is that we approach rather than take the corner, but even that's not too bad. You can do this if you're worried that, you know, maybe I'm going to play here and my opponent's going to approach, and if I do that, we might get into a Chinese or a micro Chinese or something along those lines. If you want to, you can go ahead and approach the 3-4, because they're going to find it really, really difficult to actually make that kind of a framework if they can't. Pretty straightforward. Frozen points out that white is noted for her aggressive style. I would say that most every Korean that is alive right now is noted for their aggressive style. I mean, you can't, even Lee Changho, you can't really call him a passive player nowadays. So, I mean, is there a passive Korean out right now? I don't know. No? Maybe. I'll have to look that one up. That'd be a cool series to do. The most passive players ever. See how they win. Alright, I'll look at them later. Suffice it to say, black, normally we would see a few things here. We could see pincers, we could see attachments, you know, they're all okay. If we do play the attachment, you're not going to continue the Joseki here as white, otherwise you probably should be taking handicap, maybe. It's not a really good idea, because then your opponent gets a free corner, you have a Joseki, and that's a problem. But instead, black decides not to respond locally and takes a rather interesting point for himself. And thus the game gets interesting. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves, since this is a... Okay, wait a minute. Sorry. I looked at this move as if it was actually there. I placed it in the sense that there is a triangle. Okay, this is good. Yeah, I always screw up the tree, sorry. Black responds here, and then takes the open. And the question that I meant to forward to you is, why on earth would you do that? What are we playing here? Jamel, don't be surprised if the move is dead on move 4, okay? I killed it like what, last week? Week before last? On move 1. Alright? We're not breaking any records here anymore. First move of the game. Got it wrong. I'm awesome. I think at some point I'll load up a 13 by 13 and do move 0. Yeah, probably. I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, we're playing off star point. Why are we playing this way? What has occurred on this board that makes us want to do such weird things? I think c6 because extending with the d13 stones are hard. So says Jamal. Frozen Soul says, the idea is to make white c9 not so attractive now. Okay, thank you, Frozen Soul. What else do we have here? Frozen Soul, or Jamal has declared himself the Go Master of 2014. Essentially, what we have here is a problem for white. We know that we can continue the Joseki, right? We can, do something over here, do something over here. But, problem is corner. Problem is corner. And if we approach corner, we might be giving away influence. If we give away influence, then what is this all about? So, you finish it and it looks weird. We approach, we can kind of hurt ourselves. It's a bit of an uncomfortable move. That said, white does take the 3-4 point. Oh, it's very experimental. I think anytime you play c6 as your cornerstone, you are experimenting. All right, so white approaches. Black says no. I'm going to finish my Joseki, thank you very much. One thing at a time. I like that. Rather than get bogged down into a Joseki in the bottom left-hand corner, are you going to get Sente? Are you not going to get Sente? Let's just go ahead and finish one where we know we are. White has to take a base for himself. Or herself, rather. I'm going to do that a lot this game, probably. Can't really respond here, because we're doing what at this point? Poking our own group? Forcing white to attack, or forcing black to attack us even more efficiently than currently? That's not going to work. So, has to take. Now, black follows up. Black decides not to do anything crazy, like we've seen occasionally from some questionable players that we've played probably, where they jump up and are convinced that they're going to make shape here and it's going to be a good thing. Because we've got a nice shape on the left for white, we have nowhere we're really trying to go, we have no reason to really develop influence at the moment, if we can. No real reason to jump out here, nothing's available for us. So we're just going to go and settle. Gonna just play Joseki here. Pretty straightforward. Order slightly matters. We don't want to, for example, Atari this move first. It gives options to black. Doesn't have to save, can cut, that kind of dealio. So instead we're going to Atari here first. Then we are going to Atari here, at which point white has to connect. We're going to say, we like our corner, because why wouldn't you? Now you have two basic ways of continuing this Joseki. If you like to live and let live, you could just play something like F5. Theoretically, you could play something like F5. I'll show you why that we're not going to in a moment. But typically speaking, f5 is typically played, because usually... Okay, I just killed a tree again. Thank you very much. Whatever. Rip in pieces, tree. Because usually we're going to see this. We are not going to see it now, unfortunately, because c9 is one step farther away. If we were to see this now, what we're going to wind up watching is all of our things disappearing, because this is not supposed to be good for black. There's only one problem. This actually kills now. Before, normally, if this stone was even one closer, this would not work. Because our cut is nice and solid. Our cut doesn't turn into an Atari. So we would be able to Hane here without fear of being sliced in half. Sadly, we will be. So because it's one farther away, we're not going to go play the traditional Joseki. It's not possible. We cannot play f5. It just does not work. Instead, I'm going to play the more aggressive variation. And that is playing g4. g4 says, you are not going to be able to develop anything on the bottom. I might take my stone out if at all possible, but you've got to fight to actually settle. So alright, black says I'm going to lean on that stone because my c6 stone is not dead yet. So if you make me stronger, you're going to have to go back and kill it. Oh look, you made me stronger, go back and kill it. Black gets a base for himself. Not too bad. White's now undercut. The influence that white is getting here is not too much. It's not like we're being horribly surrounded in Gote or whatever. We can still attack that. Why is playing aggressively the answer to having a longer pincer? Well, like I mentioned, if we go into the variation I probably can't find again. Okay, yeah, here. If we do the normal variation, then this doesn't work for you, right? Because the normal variation, this is closer, we play the Hane, we get the solid cut. If we're farther away, where was the pincer? Here? Yeah. If we're farther away, I need a white stone. This is weird. Go away. Then this suddenly doesn't connect to anything, right? If you save your stone, we can go back and kill. If we connect, we can take. There we go. So, alright, we're nicely undercut here. White's not going to like that, so white's going to drop down. Black will do similar. And now things are relatively peaceful now. Black's alive in the corner. White's okay on the left-hand side. There's a 3-stone wall here we kind of have to do something about. There are many different ways you can do something about this. How would you do something about this? What would you do with this 3-stone wall? Are you going to play down again? Are you going to grab G2 for yourself? Austin says we should extend to L4. Austin says no, not L4. Austin can't make up his mind. But it's okay, because we have another suggestion. Q6. Indeed, we are white now. Before we were black, now we are white. Showing you that color does not matter. Let's see, Jermel says N3. Oh, I like Jermel. We have an option here. We could... Oh, Frozen said it first. I'm sorry, Frozen. I didn't know you had it first. I apologize. See, what we could do here, if we grab our extension for ourselves, we're undercut, right? So that feels weird. Our corner's open. we're not really obtaining anything for ourselves. Technically, we are a little bit more settled, but we're leaving so much Aji behind, right? We can't make that completely secure. So if we take our enclosure for ourselves, we make our corner a bit more secure, we are helping our stone, our wall. If if black dives in between the wall and the N3 stone, there's not enough room to make a 2-space extension. So we're going to be able to use our wall to attack something, which is, ideally what you want to do when you make walls. Alright, so now it's black's turn. We've got the enclosure here in the bottom right hand corner. Usually when your opponent has an enclosure, especially a large knight enclosure, you know that there's influence that's kind of wanting to be obtained here. So we gotta put an end to that. Black decides to do that, taking away the extension. Frozen also already seen the game. Good point. Frozen, what are you doing guessing moves?
I don't know. I wanted to be special.
Well, you are special, Frozen, but you probably shouldn't tell us moves that you already know of, because you went through the game earlier today. Yeah, I'm sure it is what you would have played, because you've seen the game before. I would play it too, because I've seen the game before. I mean, that's amazing. Imagine if you could do that in school. If you could get the answer sheet and just be like, well, this is what I'd write down because I'm looking at the answer. All right, that would work. On a side note, I don't hate Frozen. I only tease him because he's awesome. Alright, so black takes away the extension. White now has to decide what she wants to do, because now that there is an extension in place, we might find ourselves with an enclosure by black if we are not careful. So what we are going to do next is approach Q7. What? Wow. Rucus, that is a very, very interesting suggestion that you have made. Q7 would be a 30Q move, yeah. I would have to agree with you. Or maybe a 5Q bot move. Maybe one of the 5K bots would play this as well. But no. Rather than follow our opponent around on the board, black decides to take away the enclosure. Why not O16? For black? Or for white? For white, right? I think I know what you're talking about. I think what he's looking at is he's looking at these two stones and he's like, well, this is kind of like the Kobayashi, so shouldn't we approach it a little bit further away? That way, black can't do anything like what we see in the actual game, such as attach to our stone to develop the right-hand side. And that is a reasonable question. I would have played it low rather than high, because I'm not really a big fan of the two-space high approach, even in the Kobayashi. I don't want to say that this is not a possible move, though. I would go ahead and say that you could probably still play this way. White approaches high. Black says I'm going to take all the things for myself. White obviously grabs corner. And from here, we have probably the most aggressive variation you can possibly play in this situation. leaving lots of cut points behind. White is going to find no trouble living in the corner, obviously. White is going to find no trouble living in the corner in... Okay, that was a mistake. You, don't connect that. Cut for... Okay, that's not a cut either. Holy crap. Black. And then white. Thank you. Alright, so like I said, we're going to have a lot of cut points. Could take advantage of them immediately to, you know, utilize all of the Ajis. Yes, I just made that plural. Before going back and connecting. Yeah, the tree, it can't feel anything. The tree can't feel, don't worry about it. Benefit of this, we already have our cut in place. So we can activate our stone. Black now has to make sure that he's not going to die with this, otherwise that would be bad. White follows. Here's a question. Can anyone tell me why P18 was played? Was it just a sort of ha ha ha, you're going to respond to my move? No, Frozen, you can tell me because that is a reason, not an actual move. You are able to comment on the reasons for the move. Now, if O18, black N18 ends it. If O18, black, and yes, that is true. There is one minor other thing to keep in mind as well. And that is, well, yeah, the Aji there, that's true. M16 in particular can also be annoying without this, right? Sorry, had to close something. So my voice went weird for a moment. Did I say M18? No. I meant, what was I saying? M16, sorry. This, without that, can be a little bit annoying, as we can see from here, because there's no way to like be like, I'm gonna be fine! Like, no, you're not, you're gonna be dead, because that's a snapback. So there's a problem with this shape. If this is on here, and we already have the other move, let's just keep randomly making the board messy. Then we can easily block and there's no problem. The tree's fine! No, it's not. Shoot. No, it was for a while. Alright, it's okay. The tree's long since been firewood and I don't know, it's burned, okay? The tree doesn't exist anymore. It's a figment of your imagination. So alright, all of the Aji disappeared. Well, most of the Aji disappears with that little one stone. So now white has Sente again. We could keep being paranoid and take these stones a little bit further. But then we're probably going to give our opponent Sente, and there are lots of things that are, you know, requiring our attention on the board, such as what is this large knight doing right now? It's kind of for influence, but is it going to really be for influence when, you know, black's getting strong on the right-hand side? Maybe not. Maybe not so much. So do we really want to see black either approach or 3-3 it? Nah, again, probably not. So we could do a few things. We could destroy the tree and play here, which I just did quite well, thank you, and try to solidify this. That's a little bit more passive. Even affords black the ability to, you know, keep extending a little bit more for himself in the future. The more aggressive variation is to make 2 small knights, because why have 1 when you can have 2? Now, the 3-3, large knights, small knights, whatever. Now I'm messing up my own head. Thank you. My thought process died with the tree, okay? Yes, why have 1 large knight when you can have 2? The question is, rather than the small knight, where I meant to go with this conversation, the large knight is open to invasion. So question, with 2 large knights, is the corner secure yet? I am not clicking any links while I am recording a lecture, sorry. No? Alright. Quite right. It is still open to reduction still. But if black decides to go ahead and reduce, we do have the added benefit of being able to continue to attack all of the things. That's pretty good. So what does black decide to do? Black decides, I'm taking myself a little bit of Sente. White says, I will go back and live. And now, we still can't invade the corner. Most unfortunately, we need to get strength. So whenever we need to get strength, we try to get strength, preferably by attacking something. If our opponent has to respond to us defending ourselves, then, you know, things are going well. Might get stronger in Sente. We definitely want these things. So black comes out. Only weak group on the board right now. It's pretty much in the upper right-hand corner here. White says that's fine. I'm going to poke. Black says 2 can do that. White responds. Black responds. White is still looking for ways to strengthen in Sente. The top is pretty strong. Chances were good that we were never, ever, ever, ever going to play anything remotely like this. So since we can rule out ever playing this move, we don't really lose anything by leaning on this group in Sente, or in to attempt to make our group stronger in Sente. You see, this way, black could respond. It does take away the H8, H17 point, but we weren't going to get anyway, therefore we don't care. Now, if we were to play this move, I'm just going to kill the tree constantly from here on, just so you know. If we were to play this move, it's entirely too passive, because if you responded to that, you're probably responding to this, and if you're responding to this, white got stronger in Sente, exactly what was being looked for. Your attempt to counter peep and keep pressure on the top group has failed utterly. These 2 stones are now crying out for attention that they are never going to get. So instead of that, black decides to go on the aggressive. Keep things separated. Now, obviously, we're going to follow up our last move in an attempt to say, our moves matter, you should respond to me. So, okay, Hane definitely seems to be an important thing to do there. But the question now becomes, do we have any other Sente move here? Have we been made stronger? All of those wonderful, wonderful questions. I think many of us would probably play their move here. And I'm thinking, if I had to bet Frozen's life on what people would probably wind up playing here, I would probably say H16. There's a good chance that people would probably defend that way. Because you're threatening to cut, you're threatening to drop down again. But white is a little bit more aggressive. H16 still bad though. Oh yeah. Wait, what? Yeah. Instead, we see a much more interesting move. What is this move trying to do? Is it just trying to take the center? It's in the center, so it must be. Why were you thinking this move, FC? Good shape, indeed. Pretty reasonable shape. The group on the right can't really attack us any further. We're kind of threatening to invade now, which is also kind of nice. Putting a little bit more pressure on black, because if, again, the 3/3 is available, but if the 3/3 is taken, you still have to ask yourself questions like what happens when white invades now that there's like 2 different ways to come out. It's a pretty good all-around move, doing lots and lots of things. Unfortunately, we have to also be careful. Now, black's turn. 3/3 is available, but you know it's going to end in gote. So black side's just a little bit more active. Here's a difficult move to find. Trying to find out what's on white's mind. How is white going to respond? As Frozen has pointed out, lovely little probe. You don't really know how much Aji you have here until you play it. What is white going to do? Is white going to Hane? Is white going to extend? If so, which direction? If white extends, then you know you have further forcing moves, no matter how this is played, right? So the only way to know which of the variations exist here is to go ahead and you know, play at least one stone to find out. White says, I'm going to make my group nice and strong. It's going to stay nice and strong. So black says, then you're going to be defending the top left group, right? It means I get more moves. White says, no. I'm going to kill you. I think most players there will C10. Either C10 or D10. And either way, you're making your opponent stronger, which is what he's looking for here. Because you have to keep in mind, right now, the middle group, right, this little thing here, white gave it some pretty good shape. However, let's go ahead and just play some random moves real quick. Let's say that. Let's say, I don't know. Let's just say solid connection, and let's just say connect on up. If we keep giving influence away to our opponent, do you really think this group in the center is going to still remain nice and strong and shapeable? Probably not. Might fall under attack again. I mean, it could be capped now that it looks like you're being completely surrounded. And that's not what you want, because you spent all these moves to save yourself. So no, instead, white is going to remain aggressive. Because we can't play passive. We saw in the other variation that playing passive doesn't really work. It hurts us. So, okay, we're going to play aggressive. Makes sense. Now, interestingly enough here, black looks at these 2... I kind of want to call them large knights now that I've already called the large knights small knights, but that might mess with people's heads, so let's refer to them as small knights. Realizing that there's bad Aji there and defense. Also keeps the group separating, you know, that and the middle one nice and strong. White says, okay. I am going... 1 second. I'm betting 0 people here would find black's next move. I think you just dared everyone to go look it up. So the real question first here is, what is white's move? Why did white play this? What is going on that white thinks response must be made? If we play anything else, like a ha 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 you're gonna die, then we have Mr. Table Shape here ready to cut through all of the things. So this is an attempt to defend all the things. I said table, not cable. There was a T there. Though you sometimes can't tell with KGS audio. As I've mentioned before, KGS audio kind of does sound like we're on a radio from like the 1930s or something. It's not very good quality. But that's fine because we love it, so we're not complaining. We like KGS audio. Please don't take it away from us. Alright, so we had comments for next move. Did anyone get it right? What was it? I bet no one's gonna get it. You sure, LOL. No, no, no. No. Nope, no, 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 no. Not that one either. Oh, that one. Oh, you said it. Indeed. Going to jump up and connect. Not going to get bogged down responding to white. If we lose Sente, we're surrounded. That's not good. Instead, what you have to realize is white's being made stronger. Which of these two groups are the weaker one? Identify that and help it. Don't try to be tricky and be like, I'm gonna respond to this in this way, which is gonna still keep the cut alive, and I'm gonna get Sente Man, and then I'm gonna get my group out of there because I can read. No, you might not, and you'll die. You don't want that. So instead, simple move, connect up. No fuss, no muss. A little bit, but you have to be careful. White responds by following up, because white's got the same idea. It's like, dude, my group is in trouble too, right? I need to do something here. I can't let you just go back and defend this at some point and get stronger and attack me again. So we've gotta fix ourselves too. Black's like, well, I'm gonna fix myself now. And then I'm going to threaten to cut you. And I would appreciate you letting me just connect up right now. And, you know, maybe we might, if we could see, you know, a nice, clear, obvious way, one move kill kind of deal here, but we can't really see that just yet. We can't really see that one move is really going to kill it. So keeping white's other group nice and unstable for as long as we can seems like it's in our best interest. White has to defend. KGS is gonna lag. Oh god, I'm sorry about all the things I said about you, KGS. Oh god. I've lost internet connection completely. Are you kidding me? Alright, suffice it to say, yeah, two groups are currently unsettled. White still has to make sure that pressure can still be applied, can still escape, all them good things. Black connects. White moves to do similar. Very aware of his own problems with his small knight. Black moves to help himself. So late. I couldn't know our time so deeply. There's one more game I wanted to go over. Now, this is obviously Sente, because those two white stones are about to die. And that would not be good. White does not want himself to die, so he's going to respond. Unfortunately, if this group is now fine, and rumor has it it now is, that means black is able to do really, really fun things, like put this little connection into question. Like, is this really defending anything? Not so much. So alright. Gonna drop down. And now here's a fascinating thing. You know how we keep going back to this whole keep two groups separated bit? Well, it kind of works here too. Because where many people would just see, you know, the only groups interested in this part of the board are these two. This is what's being fought over, nothing else. Well, now that the fight is like extended this far down, Black says, you know what? The three down here are invited to the party as well. So now what you gonna do? You may comment. When 9P have 1 weak group,
It's not likely to die.
true. Any professional who has 1 weak group, it's really, really hard to kill it because they do life and death for like 26 hours a day. So the chances that they're somehow going to miss the Aji that they need for that one group to live are extremely low. Indeed, 26 hours a day. The reason why you don't know that there's 26 hours in a day to do life and death is why you're not a pro. See how that works? Good. Alright, so what else were you saying? Let's see.
When they have 2, they're a bit uncomfortable. But when they have 3, resign.
Indeed, indeed. Typically that is how it goes. So, it's very interesting to see how this is actually going to turn out. Because there's a lot of unsettled groups here. White says, we are going to Atari. Black says, we are going to make sure that you can't cut us. There's no possibility of ever doing any of the things. And now that there's no possibility of ever doing any of the things, we can run this out because this ladder doesn't really work. White says that's fine. I'm just going to make myself nice and stronger here. And take things one at a time. So if you could let me cut through your stone there at H6 or 7, whatever that is, so I can get 8th line territory potentially, that'd be great. See, what you want to do here as Black is just bet the entire game that you can attack the top and kill it. That's the ideal play here. Ruckus would. Trouble is, if you attack the top and you lose Sente and White gets to cut through you and actually takes 8th line territory, that would be kind of that is an ear-reddening move right there. It's like, oh, that didn't work and there was no reason to give up 8th line territory. Well, live and learn, I guess. So forget that stuff. We're gonna connect because we're not gonna be greedy, like some people would be. Not naming any names, Ruckus. Okay, admittedly, yeah, I would totally be all over that. Especially if I was recording, I would absolutely try to kill everything. It's like, this will be such a great video. Unless I die, but that's probably not going to happen. So I rarely ever play anyone my own level on video, so I can get away with that kind of thing. Entertainment. Let's see, so got it connected up there. We don't call it sandbagging, we call it teaching, okay? Nuances. Nuances. So White connects. That way we can keep these cutting stones from just turning around and smashing our face in. As long as these little cutting stones only have 3 liberties, probably can't immediately try and launch an attack and, you know, kill the cutting stones and further take away our eye shape and things like that. Most that this thing can do is boop. Try to come up. Just a little pokey poke. And a lot of people here would immediately defend themselves. This is so great. The left-hand group is getting out. We can defend the middle. Nothing that black has done is working so far. But, you know, Frozen Soul did tell us that white was a little bit of an aggressive player, so white sees the same thing. Like, I'm just going to keep you disconnected as well. Because I have more shape than your group that has no shape. Black's like, that's a very good point. I think I need to be careful here. Has to attach. Oh, so painful to do that. Whenever we're attaching to the group that we originally wanted to try to damage or kill in order to live, it's so painful. But white has to defend, otherwise, you know, it could surround. Black has to turn and get out of there. White turns and gets out of there. So black gets to save himself some territory. And at that point, it looks like this fight, which was kind of started off on the top of the board and sort of spiraled along everywhere else, seems to be over. I mean, black looks to be pretty secure there right now. White seems to be doing pretty alright as well. Uh-oh. What do you mean by that? Am I gone again? If I am, things will die. No, I'm here. Okay. Alright. Let's see. So whose move is it? Ah, yes, black's. So we're now noticing that white is trying to develop a fairly large portion of the board. And we know pretty well that there is not a portion of the board equal to this that white, or that black could just say, alright, you have that, and I'm going to take this other portion of the board that's also this size. So, you know, some reductions have to occur. White says, this is mine. Indeed. Indeed. 3-3 is not completely done yet. But now we're not going to see the 3-3, and the reason why we're not going to see the 3-3 is because we just played Q7. So what are we going to play instead? No, we did not play Q7, we played P7. Those of us that can actually tell our letters apart would probably know that before I did. Let's see. Frozen Soul says R4, but is he trolling you? Because if I had a reputation for knowing every single move that occurs in this game, I would have started giving the wrong ones a long time ago. Just to see if people agree with me, like, oh my god, yeah. Play on the second line right now is so good. It's like, yes, it is. You're betting on S5. Alas, you should bet on Frozen because he was not trolling you. He is not as mean as I am. I would have trolled you. But yes, the reason why we're playing this rather than the 3-3. If we did the 3-3, then yeah, whatever, who cares, co. But this is interesting because we think about how the Jiseki usually goes, right? Black would extend up, and then we would either connect or go here, and then black would turn, and clearly there's a problem. We've just given away more of the right to black, it looks like. So this seems like a very, very good sequence. Which is why this time only, and I want to emphasize that because I see a lot of people play this way when they shouldn't. This time only, because there's higher considerations, does white actually play Q5. It's not normal. This isn't Jiseki. I don't want to see this in your games. If I see this in your games, I'm going to start messaging your opponent how to beat you. So instead, we're gonna go back and play the Hane now and live here, because giving up the corner is like amazing right now. This attachment is not supposed to end with the corner being no longer white's. Play Q5 now and be considered pro. What is normal response? Yeah, just take the corner. White's not supposed to lose it. Like we saw earlier, this or this is supposed to be normal. Nice large corner for white. Still have to make an extension and whatnot for black. This is normal, but extension here is not necessary because of all the strength that black has. This is nicely cut off, which is why it's different today. And today only. Where's that variation? There we go. So alright, plays the Hane. White connects. Black plays an interesting move here, saying that you can go deeper into the corner if necessary, or, you know, can play on the left as well, or on the top-ish side. It's okay, I got this into 2. It happens. Now here's where white tries to be aggressive, because white could link up right now, right? White could just say, okay, you win, the corner's going to be yours, I'm just going to connect up and be happy, or something along those lines. But, unfortunately, white is aggressive. White is saying, if you want this area, you are not getting it without a fight. So I'm going to play forcing moves to see what is here. Well, black says I'm going to connect because that's good to do. White says I'm going to connect too, and this area that you thought was yours is not going to be yours any longer. Black, the absolute king of best shape, disconnects white stones. The moves themselves might be ugly, but they get the job done. See, now we're playing with Tetris. So alright, white still needs to live. So we move to try to make a base. And everybody should get this next move right. What's the next move for white? Or black, sorry. What's black's next move? The 2 Don and the 3 Q are both in agreement that you should throw in. And we know we can throw in because we can connect to everywhere. We can connect through here. We can connect back across here. We're nice and strong everywhere, so there's no reason not to. Let's see. What happens next? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, push up. See if we can't get a thing going here. I guess there's possibility for, I guess there's a possibility for a ko now, right? I mean, I assumed that there was going to be a ko here. But Ruka says no. So T7 doesn't work? Is T7 not a ko? Does this not work? Is this not something that white can play? I don't think so. Well, if you think that this can't be played, then your answer isn't to connect, right? Otherwise, that is absolutely a ko to kill you constantly. It would appear. Because all those moves seem forced. So that's an Atari, that's an Atari. There's no time to go back and play that. So, I guess you'd have to play here then? And then this gets taken and that gets taken, but even that's still a ko, I think. Was I missing something? However, white connects. And I will admit, there is some area of confusion here. The only thing that I can assume is that the ko wasn't going to be 1. But I'm further confused because this group is not alive. Responds, goes nowhere. Turns, black doesn't care and defends the cut. So that happened. No. White's got one more trick up their sleeve. Descends. Forces life. But the problem with that life is that it's not quite living yet. And now we get into a ko. Look at ko. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm freely admitting not to fully understanding this. I mean, I guess it does force white to respond, or black to respond again, to connect on up. And then the rest could be used as threats? Yeah, maybe. That does sound like a thing. Anyway, fun thing about this ko, like, no, not that. Forward, there we go. Fun thing about this ko is that there are threats, which we're seeing here. That was a threat, can use them as threats. Respond, thank you. Then take. We see attempts to live, attempts to kill. Now the question is there any follow-up? We're kind of in a ko. Not only are we kind of in a ko, I think black lives as is. So white resigns, as Frozen has said. So this is an interesting game. I had another one that I wanted to go over. I was going to go over it. It was going to be a fun, short game, filled with much death and destruction. Sadly, I can't, because I kind of sort of lost connection throughout this one. So I cannot go over that one, because I do not have time to go over that one. Of course you saw the other one too. Short of me picking like 2 games from, what? Let's say 1 Don Pros that you've never heard of and weren't interested in? And you probably... No, it's not Keji. This was a Keji-less week, sorry. For me, anyway. The other one was Cho-Cha-Han. Did you see that game as well? Versus the 3 Dan? Yeah, I figured. That one was wonderfully short and destructive. But sadly we can't go over it today. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. Oh, give a link at least? Okay. The only link that I have to give is to Go4Go, which rumor has it you need an account to view nowadays. So let me do this. That's Go4Go's link. And you don't have it. Go Kifu, you have failed me. They do not have the game, so I cannot give you another link. You have to look at it there. Nah. That's why I've got to go for you, I guess. They require you have an account now, but I guess it's worth it, because you sometimes can't find the games anywhere else, really. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game. Sorry about the disconnect. Completely out of my hands. I blame my ISP entirely. I am going to be recording the next Ramas Wing tonight, actually. I have not researched anything about it. I don't know how to actually do it. I'm going to tackle it blind and see how I go. Should be noted that I haven't actually played that game in a few months, so that'll be interesting. The bots, on the other hand, for the bots for KGS, I already have recorded a lot of that. I'm going to release one a week. To not overwhelm everyone. And because I randomly decided that. Well, yeah, I've got like, what, 3 or 4 of those videos done? It's going to be a pretty short series. I unfortunately do have to play the 1-Don bot again. Because everybody can know exactly why I released it before it was completely done. And that's because I was really, really tired one day. I was not paying attention to what account I was on when I was playing the 1-Don bot and recording it. And I was on this account when I was playing it. And to make matters worse, I didn't realize it throughout the entire game. I got done with the game, I was reviewing it, I looked at the comments in the game, and they were like, oh my god, the bot has gotten Baticide of Blitz. And I'm like, holy crap, how do they know that's me? And then I noticed my account name. It's like, oh, I'm stupid. Throughout the entire game, I had no idea I was logged into this account when I played. So yeah, that was a thing. Unfortunately, it means my other one needs to play it for the rank, so I can, you know, do the 2-Don, and I think it was a 3-Don. And I think the 6-Don one said in the info that they, like, censor you if you have improper handicap, so I need to find a way to get 6-Don in order to, no, 5-Don, I guess, in order to play the 6-Don bot just from playing bots. Maybe give 2 stones to the 3-Don bot? I don't know.